Greetings, friends. Your cartoonist pal Stan here with a brand new episode of Random Encounters, the show where I take random encounter tables, like the kind you find in tabletop role playing games, such as Dungeons and Dragons, and together with an electronic die roller and input from you all in the live chat room, I randomly select a subject, a who, and a situation, a what, and I smash them together and then I draw that cartoon here, improv style, while you're watching. So you guys get to see the randomization. You get to help me figure out how to interpret it, and then we bring it all to life. And while we're doing that, I will talk through some. I'll tell stories about my life and times in gaming and cartooning, and I of course will wax poetic about the fun of cartooning because I do this because it's fun, and to encourage folks out there that drawing just for the fun of it is something maybe you ought to be doing too. It's a great, um, it's a great relaxing thing to do while you're just sitting around, or you have 10 minutes to kill, or sit down. When you get to the point where you really like it, then you might actually sit down and spend half an hour doing it for the fun of it because you get so involved in the drawing and get lost in what's coming down on the paper or electronic drawing implement, which is what I use here on the show. I use the Apple iPad Pro and the app Procreate and an Apple Pencil. These are my tools of choice. Uh, they are not sponsors. This show is not sponsored. But people ask what equipment I use, so I tell them. There you go. That's what we're doing. Um, uh, those of you who have followed the show for a while maybe noticed that I was not here for 2 weeks in a row, which is pretty strange. I've managed to make it most Thursdays, but round about the beginning of the month, I succumbed to a case of COVID, and so that knocked me off my feet, and I took some time off just to get better, just to feel better, and I do. So now we're back again. Gonna dig in. Gonna do some drawing and have some fun. Hello, Michael. Uh, um, I did. Oh, so Michael says that I did a wonderful job doing just that improv drawing on Thursday. Thursday is a live stream show from our good friends over at Green Ronin Publishing. And very often while I'm watching, I will, when they say something interesting that inspires me, I will draw it very quickly and then send it to the show's host, Troy, who was my guest last night on my other show. So drawings happen spontaneously. And then he shares them with the folks watching. That's part of the fun of the improv cartooning angle of this. And I often say I may not be the best cartoonist, but I'm pretty fast. Certainly wouldn't lay claim to being the fastest. That that particular credit goes to the great Sergio Aragonés, who you may know from his work on Mad Magazine or Gru the Wanderer or any dozen other things. Uh, he's a great guy, super funny guy, very nice guy, and not just a great cartoonist, the world's fastest cartoonist. He's pretty incredible. Anyway, having said all that, let's dive in. Let's do some drawing. I invite you, please grab your favorite pencil or pen and sketch pad or stack of random paper or the back of an envelope, or if you like, your electronic drawing, and draw along with me. You don't have to draw the same thing I draw, and in fact, you certainly shouldn't try to be drawing exactly what I'm drawing. Though, if you like the prompt, please go ahead, do your interpretation, and share it with me. Share it with us. That would be fun. Or just draw any old thing. Just let's say draw for the fun of it. Doodle circles and squares and geometric shapes on your paper if that's what you like to do. Draw little bunnies if that's what you like to draw. Just draw. Um, Michael says, "Cool that industry of consultants that do." Yeah, So Michael brings up the. He compared what I was doing for Green Ronin for the show. Pardon me, I'm gonna blow my nose. To being a graphic facilitator. I have friends who are graphic facilitators. Um, it's an interesting job that I'm not particularly good at, except when it comes to game related stuff. I'm just not a good note taker. But yes, graphic facilitation is a fun thing. It's those of you who don't know is a an artist who's hired to attend meetings and to transform what the people are talking about, the notes for uh, um, the conversation, into do quick drawings to help highlight what's going on, and it helps with retention and focus for the people watching, and it gives a nice little uh, something better than just a bullet list of minutes that can be shared around afterwards. So, if you've ever had the luck to have a graphic facilitator, a good graphic facilitator, show up to one of your meetings, you'll know how much that enhances the experience for everyone. Anyway, now I'm going to take a sip. Whew. Tell you, it's been over 2 weeks now since I tested positive for COVID. I'm feeling much better. As you notice, I've still a little bit of coughing, a little bit of blowing the nose. But the other thing is just a little more tired than usual. Just a little lower on energy. And so we'll see. And should be fine. But I thought about that when I was like, I need a drink already. Yeah? We're 5 minutes in. Anyway, let's do this thing. So, I'm going to come over here and I'm going to switch the view so you can see what's looking on my tablet here. You can see these are the encounter tables for tonight's episode. I will now pop on over to the die roller and roll us up a couple of options for our first drawing. So it's a 6 on the white and a 6 and 6. So we come back over here to our table. 6 and 6 gives us a Golem mini golf. Now, I originally had written playing mini golf, but I wanted to leave it open so it doesn't have to be playing, but something involved with mini golf. So in this case, the Golem could be part of the hole itself, or something. I think I'll probably have the Golem playing mini golf. But here we go. Let's go. We're going to turn that off. Come over here. Make sure I turn my. I like to do my sketching in blue. I want to make sure I'm on the correct brush here. And let's see. A Golem. All right. Uh, um, thinking of ideas. Now, we've got a Golem's going to be a big. I'm going to make it be a clay golem or a rock golem. And we can give him a little putter and a golf ball. And we can have him getting ready to do some mini golf, some putt putt. And the other thing we could certainly do is maybe have someone else playing a round, and there's a big golem kind of standing in the middle, saying, "None shall pass." That's kind of funny. I'm leaning towards that right now. Okay, let's clear this. I don't like either one of those sketches to begin with. All right, so we're gonna want the hole itself is going to be pretty straightforward. Just a little simple hole there. And then we're going to put the golem here. Suppose maybe I want to flip this around. Why do I want to flip it around? Well, I want to flip it around because doing a cartoon, you need to think about the order in which things are read. And so what I want is for him to be saying, "None shall pass," and then we'll have our people over here who say, I hate the golem hole." That's the gag for this drawing. I have decided. How should I do this? Right now, I'm not loving the proportions of everything we've got right here. I think I want to grab the golem, and I could redraw it. We're early enough in on this, but I think I just want to make him bigger. Grab the whole thing and move it down a bit, because that way I can make these guys on this side a little bigger, and the golem is still huge comparatively. There we go. I think that's I mean, get those text out of there, but that seems like a good basic setup here. Let's see. I'm gonna break the golem. So the golem is a creature. It's an animated creature, like a Frankenstein. The Frankenstein monster is is technically a golem. It's a inanimate object that has been brought to life, uh, depending on the exact tradition you're talking about, by magic or science or. So I'm gonna just outline our golem here. I'm not sure. Right now, I'm actually sitting here trying to figure out whether I want to give him a nose. And then down here, we're going to have to. You know what? I've got these characters, like, with proportions of being adults. But mini golf very often is a game for kids. So we'll have a couple of kids down here. All right, that's looking okay. How are you guys doing today? Everyone having a good Thursday? Has the week gone well? I can't believe that we're not we're in the next to last week of August already. We're it's the 21st. Right? We've got 10 days left in August. I was gonna have do so much more with my August. I and of course, coming down with COVID really kind of took the wind out of the whole month's sales for me. Okay, here we go. I think at this point, I think I'm going no nos. I I was just in last night's show. I was asked, and I was talking about the fact that I'm going to be at uh, Gamehole Con in October. I've been invited to be a guest at Gamehole Con, which is a convention in Madison, Wisconsin, and a very awesome convention. I highly recommend it. Not just because I'm going to be there. I'm going to be there because it's a show that I like so much. I chased after them and told them, well, I would love to be a guest, and they very kindly have invited me to be one. I've just now got to make sure I'm a good enough guest that they hopefully invite me back again. Um, anyway, one of the things I'm going to be doing at that convention is there's a group of gaming performers which do shows under the name uh, Catacombs and Comedians. They did some performances at Gen Con recently. They do shows around the country, sometimes at conventions, sometimes just at local venues, and basically it's like any of the other live games, except they lean heavily on the funny. That's why it's comedians. That's why it's right there in the title. Um, anyway, I have been invited to be uh, one of the people up on stage for one of the performances at Gamehole Con, and they engaged me to do drawings of the characters uh, that we will be playing. And I recently did that. They posted those to the Gamehole Con website and media and their social media. And one of the characters, so each of us will be playing a character, not surprisingly, but the other folks who are playing have been in have done this before. I think they did it at last year's Gamehole Con, and they already had characters figured out. So I had to figure out my character. They let you, or they ask you to come up with your own character. My character, and the reason I started talking about this here, my character is, I'm not sure yet because haven't done the actual stats for the character yet. Is either going to be a golem or a warforged or some kind of animated creature. So I just spent some time the last week or so designing a my character so that we we'd know what he would look like. And like I say, I haven't figured out all the details at all. But I decided I wanted to be a big hulking kind of creature, but be a my class is going to be something that's more cerebral. Might be a spellcaster, might be bard, might I don't know. And if he's going to be a any kind of um, fighting class, it'll be one that's more like a warlord. It's whose uh, uh, thing is helping other people do well rather than bashing things. I like the I like how that what's the word I'm looking for? Um, I like playing against type with all of uh, my characters. I very much like to make characters that play against type. So having a character that is huge, and I certainly when I write him up, I will make sure that the character has a is powerful, is physically powerful. But I'm going to design what the character does around being smart and clever and around thinking rather than around bashing. And I'm just thinking because the character I designed was a much more of a metal golem, looked like was, you know, put together out of nuts and bolts and metallic parts, rather than this one, which I'm thinking is stone. All right, he's going to be saying, let's change this. None shall pass. Uh, and he's be saying, I hate the golem hole. I look at that. Now again, I'm thinking that the text is fine, but I'm going to move that over too close to the edge. It looked weird with the having the word balloon run off the side for no reason on a drawing where there's nothing else going on. Again, these are the things you need to think about if you're doing cartoons. The placement of word balloons. Like I said, I switched this around because I wanted to have the golem talk first, and then the the characters react to it. And uh, it, the placement of these of this lettering too far off to the side as I had it. We've got a whole page here. There's no reason to have it set off to the side. it drew attention to itself for the wrong reasons. Hello, Lala. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. Good to see you again. Working on the first drawing of the night, and it is Golem mini golf. All right, so that's good for lines. We're going to turn off the sketch layer and see what we've got. Anything we need to tighten up here, just a little bit. All right, so we'll go to the colors. We're going to switch over to the gloaming brush, which gives me that kind of markery, crayony effect. And interestingly enough, I'm going to start with the putting surface. Why? I don't know why. I just feel like that's the place to start. And say this is what drawing for fun is like. You you don't have to have a reason for doing things. You just think, what's the next thing I want to do? What would be the fun thing to do? And you do that. And one of the tricks here to making giving this feeling of extra dimensionality, it not just being flat, when you're picking your colors, just because. So here, all of these borders on the around the hole, they're all the same color, but kind of like shading by choosing to figure one side is in facing the light and one side is away from the light. Uh, I I've chosen to use different versions, lighter and darker versions of the same color, and that gives that feeling to the viewer's brain that this must be in 3 dimensions. And so, even though I haven't really done much to to put that in detail wise, like I might with some uh, perspective, some forced perspective, 3 point perspective, lots of shadows and trailing off. Yeah, just that trick of the light will tell the viewer's brain that something's going on, and it will interpret it in the way that makes most sense, the way that it sees most often. Okay, let's see. Let's go with a second color. And by adding the little bit of coloring difference, it it fools the viewer's brain into doing the work for you, and people will look at it and say, "Wow, what a great job you did making that look 3 dimensional." And you'll just go, "All I did was put a splash of dark color." It's like a magic trick. All right, so come back here, do our characters. And now, other things I want to do to help increase some of this detail. So I want to make it look like we've got some shadows on the golem, but if I put this here, it's like a big shadow of where he's blocking. Again, uh, what did I do there? I didn't do any real uh, worrying specifically about the angles. I didn't draw fine lines. I put a little square of darker color, but it really feels like the golem is hovering over the hmm, and to help that out, I'm going to give shadows to these guys too. And what else can I do here just to make it look a little better? I'm going to switch back to my drawing brush, and I'm going to just put some little gribbly bits to so it's not floating there in the middle of nothing. I haven't added much detail, but it changes it from looking completely unanchored to thinking, oh, okay, they're in a field. They're at a little park. All right, and I'm going to put my little stand in the corner because I think we're done here. We've got ourselves Golem mini golf. Oops, wrong layer. Make sure you draw on the right layer. There we go. I hate the golem hole. Boot 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 doot. You guys like to play mini golf? Who doesn't like mini golf? I mean, come on. What? Anyone have any good mini golf stories, or a favorite hole, or a favorite place that you used to go? We had across the street when I was growing up. There was a community pool, and they had a mini golf set up outside the pool. This had been built in the late 50s, early 60s, and it had never like it must have seemed really cool at the time. By the time I was growing up there, it was run down. It was very badly, it wasn't weeded well. There was nothing especially fancy about it. The wood on a lot of the side bars and a couple of there was a windmill. It was all badly in need of painting. Some of it was chipping away and had squirrels had gnawed holes in it. And in fact, the putting surfaces were not at all flat anymore. Pebbles had come up. The felt had been torn. But boy, we played there all the time because it was free and it was mini golf. Who doesn't like mini golf? Michael says a cool one in Lake Erie, that's regional cryptids. That sounds like fun. That sounds like fun. All right. So having done Golem mini golf, let's set everything up again and go one more time. Do another drawing. Get it all arranged here, and have another sip of my diet soda. We started with the Golem mini golf. Let's go back and roll the dice to see what we can get for our second prompt today. So we're going to roll the dice, roll them, and we get an 8 and a 10. Okay, 8 and 10. That's Myconid Firefighter. Okay. All right, that's interesting. Myconid, for those who don't know or don't remember, are the mushroom people. An animated mushroom guy. We got a mushroom guy firefighter. And you know what? While some images are popping to head, no real joke is popping to mind. So if you guys have anything you're thinking of that might be a good gag to go with a Myconid firefighter. So I'm going to zoom in a bit here and play around a bit. I'm trying to find a way to draw a firefighter's helmet on top of a Myconid. The mushrooms from Fantasia come to mind. Yeah, that's always a good starting point when it comes to mushrooms. That's just not looking like a firefighting helmet. I mean, certainly we can have it wearing a black rain gear. That's just keeps looking like a Elmer Fudd hat, which is not what I want at all. Well, I don't usually look things up, but I'm gonna take a super quick look over here and get myself a firefighter's helmet. A little reference just to get my those are not great images. Oh, I see why, because I searched for more than that. There we go. Yeah, I mean, I was basically getting it right. All right, so there's a rough idea for what a firefighting Myconid might be. Now, what's on fire? What kind of fire? That's maybe where the joke is. Chris Oshitake. Oh my goodness. You went there, didn't you? Didn't you? Glad to have you here. Glad to have you here, Chris. Oh, okay. So we've got right now a hose. But I'm beginning to think, what if instead of fighting a big fire, you've got a bunch of little mushrooms with their caps on fire, and he's putting water over them. Why are the mushrooms on fire? I don't know. But that's the idea that's coming into my head. Doesn't mean we have to run with it, but let's explore that thought for a second. Why might the mushrooms be on fire? Um, I don't know. I'm trying to think of like a spicy food uh, reason, a joke somehow, but nothing's coming to me. All right, let's grab this. First of all, make it a little bigger. Second of all, I'm gonna move stuff around on here. I'm gonna take our little guys and move them so that rather than the drawing previously was going side to side, I want to change it now so our firefighters here and our mushrooms are here, and we're coming a little more of an angle. It gives us more space to play with, or more room to draw in this square format that I've chosen, and it also will let me draw the little mushrooms a little bigger. Maybe he became a mushroom firefighter because he had good morals. Do you like sit around all week waiting for this, Chris? Or is this just how you are all the time? Is everyone else in your life uh, very punny, or are you the punster? And if so, do they appreciate you as much as I do? I know I give you crap. I hope you know that that's from the heart. It's a gag. I am also a lover of puns. It's nice to have someone else who goes there, and that I can do the really come on. All right. Well, I don't have a reason for it, but I've got a drawing base. Got the basics of a drawing. All right, let's draw it. And you let me know if you can think of an actual gag to go with this, because I gotta tell you right now, I'm a little. I like the visual, but I don't have any explanation for it. And I mean, the fact of the matter is, we don't need it. Part of this whole thing that I'm always talking about, drawing just for the fun of it, means sometimes you just draw a thing and you don't know why you drew it. It was just what you had in your head, and it came out more or less the way you wanted, and you enjoy it. And maybe that's what we got here, because this is definitely what I have in my head. I just don't have any. I don't know why. I don't know what. Uh, I This is my personal bugaboo of like I want to have a gag, but I also want to walk the walk, as they say, and doesn't have to mean anything. It could just be a funny drawing, just be a cute, funny drawing. FD for fire department. I often will say, in fact, I remember recently one of the most recent shows. I was pointing out that um, people who do these kinds of live streams or do this kind of thing in public and draw without sketching, that it's just showing off, right? It's and rightfully so, right? It's a trick that they're doing, and I suppose that uh, maybe that could seem like I was putting that down, which isn't really what I meant. But it strikes me now that my need to have a gag, that's my trick, right? I don't need it. I don't need to do it. It's just me showing off. And so maybe for the best that in this case, I just draw the thing. Tell you, the thing I was trying to come up with that I couldn't, was a way to kind of bring hot peppers into it. Right? This is what happens when you spawn near in a hot pepper patch, in a ghost pepper patch. There we go. One chip challenge again. Yeah. I mean, yeah, there are lots of little jokes that could be that could uh, go like that, but they don't feel attached. The thing when you're doing cartooning is that you really want the drawing and the gag, the words, whatever they are, need to feel like they need to be together. In order for it to be really good, what it just because it's a funny gag doesn't mean that it feels connected to the drawing that you're doing. So the one chip challenge, that's funny. It's not. I'm not in any way knocking that. It's the kind of thing you could do. A fireman being called in. Sorry, firefighter being called in to put out because someone was doing the one chip challenge again. Um, but why mushrooms then? Again, it doesn't have to. We don't need a solution. I'm fighting myself on that. But if I was going to try and sell this, if I was going to try and do this for the purposes of publishing, then that kind of connection is actually very important. For the purposes of drawing a funny drawing for myself or for us, just for the fun of it, not that important. Only as important as I make it, and I'm making too big a deal out of it. All right, so it's oh boy. Yeah, there's a lot that I didn't put in here. A lot of detail I left in the sketch. I do. These little mushrooms are cracking me up. So that's good. See, it's the fun of it. But unlike some of the other drawings we've done here, I don't think that there's a sticker or a gag that I could use for any kind of publication in what we've come up with, what I've come up with. I don't want to blame you on any of this. I bring you in for all the credits when things go great. I'll take all the blame when things kind of don't. All right, there we go. Let's see if I grab all this. I can make it a little bigger on the page. There we go. And let's do some coloring, shall we? Switch back over to that gloaming brush. And I'm going to start with the water. Picking some interesting places to start tonight. I started with the putting surface on the previous one. Again, just because I was feeling it. Always say start where inking and coloring, start where you're most confident. No, this isn't about confidence. This is just where I'm feeling it. And we're going to do a faux black for the equipment. little running guys on fire. Don't need a lot of color on them, but some will be very helpful. I think I'm also going to come back in here. Well, I'll do that at the end. Let's see, we need colors for the mushroom caps. And then we're going to need different colors for the markings. Mushrooms are often colorful. What else do I want to do here? What else do I want to do? I'm going to add a little color on the shadows. Oh, I think I want to come back here and give the hose a little more than just a solid black. And here's the other thing to do. I'm going to come back to my lines layer. I'm going to alpha lock it, which means that now if I draw on the tablet, it will only register places that I have already drawn, and I'm on the lines layer. So I'm going to take red and I'm going to change the black outline on the fire to a red outline. Like so. And now, even though we don't have a reason, we do have a drawing. We've got a Myconid Firefighter. What those poor little guys did to set their caps on fire, I just don't know. I mean, my brain is coming up with little ghost pepper or, hot pepper lines, which I could force one in there. Right. Could just be that's the last time you guys get to play in the pepper patch. But it's not that funny. And it doesn't really help the drawing. It would just make me feel personally more. It would feed my neuroses, which is another good reason for me not to put it in there. All right, let's come back here and come back to our lines layer and put a little stand in the corner, because even though I don't understand it, I do know that we have just finished drawing a Myconid Firefighter. Bingo. Done. I don't understand it. Malcolm, yeah, I told you kids to stay out of the farmer's pepper patch. Something like that. Certainly, here's the thing about that joke. It would be, you'd look at it and it would explain the situation, and it might make someone chuckle. It's the complete uh, non sequitur of this whole situation. It's like, what is going on here? That's the it's just a non sequiturness, non sequiturosity, non sequitory. It's the fact that it's completely out of left field. But if you sit and think about it, it's not really funny. It's just weird. Which is, again, also not running that down. There's all different kinds of humor, um, and sometimes a non sequitur is just what you're. The whole point is that it's a non sequitur. Um, but uh, um, in this case, for me, the only real value that would have is it would erase that question of what's why when he says if he says something like told you kids to stay out of the farmer's pepper patch. Well, no one's going to ask the why. It's just going to be well, that's a weird situation. Non sequitorial. Maybe that's it. That sounds as good or better than anything I just said. Um, and really, again, it's the fact that I'm feeling so hung up on it that makes me want to not put that in there and just let the picture be. Just let it be. What does it mean? What does it mean to you? It's, it's a Myconid Firefighter, and little Myconid's on fire. The end. Mm. All right. Speaking of the end, we got one more drawing, and then we're going to get to the end. So I'm going to come back here and close out Group 2, the very strange Group 2. Open Group 3. Reset the pen and the color. Have one more sip, and then we will go ahead and have ourselves one more round. Okay, we've done 2 drawings. We had a Golem mini golf to start with, and we had a very, what did you say, Michael? Non-sequitorial Myconid Firefighter for our second drawing. Let's go back to the dice one more time and see what we get for a third drawing tonight. So let's roll them around, roll them, and 3 and an 8, or 8 and a 3. 8 was a Myconid. We already did that. 3 was painting minis. If we switch those around, so it would be a 3 a Minotaur Lifeguard. There's a lot of humor in a Minotaur Lifeguard, but a lot of it is very like there's a lot of story that could be played around with that. All right, let's do a Minotaur Lifeguard. What the heck? And we will call it an evening. Okay, Minotaur Lifeguard. So the jokes that I'm thinking of are the weird combination of minotaurs, mazes, or what you put them in, but how you're going to be a lifeguard sitting in the center of a maze, and secondly, that's too complicated for me to draw right here. Yeah, a minotaur and a speedo. Oh boy, that's sounding dangerous. Um, Thinking of Speedo gags. Um, all right, so we're gonna have a Minotaur. And I'm not even sure that this is the Minotaur we're going to use for this, but so what other lifeguards sitting in a chair, lifeguard blowing a whistle, lifeguard yelling "Don't run" at someone in the pool. Or let's see, I can trying to decide now whether I want these longhorn style big horns or maybe no, those don't look good. But we could have horns. Nope, I'm liking the longhorn horns. Um, Minotaur lifeguard is sleeping on the job. um, I don't know. I'm kind of liking this drawing again, kind of like the last one. But he definitely looks like he's worried about something. He's going to say something. Could give him Ray Bans. Maybe not. Sitting in the chair and two seagulls are perched on his horns. Well, okay, let's take this drawing, shrink it up, and do some more sketching here. Right? My brain keeps going back to the stupid Speedo thing. So, he's sitting on the bench. He could be talking to someone down below about lifeguard and stuff. I don't know. I mean, it could be that there's someone here saying, "Hey, there's a problem," and then the question is, why is he not going? Um, right? If this guy's coming up here and pointing over there, over there. There's something going on over there, and the Minotaur's up here on the lifeguard chair saying, uh, "Sorry, I'm a herd animal." um, there, you know what? I don't know. I don't know why, but again, the visual of this is appealing to me. So I'm going to start with this, and maybe this time we can come up with a gag that'll save me. Is there is there a life-saving joke? Is there a wow? I've got a lot of terrible, got a lot of lines here. I need fewer lines than that. I have to work this sketch a little more. All right. Guess we're gonna give him shorts because I don't want to deal with that speedo thing. So, question. Well, we can have the Minotaur here either be responding to the guy wide-eyed and saying something, or he could be kind of, look, you don't understand. I don't do that kind of thing. Kind of relaxed. um, it's definitely feeling to me, just visually, like eh, like there's some kind of joke in the. Uh, I'm. I don't do that kind of. I don't do that kind of shtick. But I can't think of a real joke that goes along with that. I don't know. I don't know. Now, one of the things I'm thinking is if I can put more background in here if we do that, or if we don't, then I can grab the whole thing and just make it bigger on the thing. But really, kind of depends on the um Yeah, I was thinking, do they know how to swim? But cattle do know how to swim. They um Or I guess the joke could also come into if this guy is not like the thing that we're coming up is someone's drowning or some kind of normal lifeguardy thing. Is there another uh thing? Could the emergency be something else? All right, let's do that. Let's turn this off and we'll grab this and make it bigger and we'll just draw it. Kind of like the last one, still hoping to come up with a gag of some sort, but I don't know what it's going to be. I'm definitely trying to come up with a if I can if we can figure out some kind of uh, other emergency that this guy's calling him about, or that the um, the bull lifeguard is like, oh no, I don't do swimming. I'm here for you know, I, I'm guarding something else, right? Then I think we've got something. Until then, we've once again got a drawing that is cute and a little funny. Let's say it's humorous. We got a humorous drawing, but we don't have a joke. And I'm going to maintain my thought from earlier that that's okay if that's what we got. But I for sure am trying to come up with something because that's the kind of um, that's just how my brain works. But no, that's it. Great. The drowning. I'm just here for the running of the bulls. That's good. Not saving anyone until my Starbucks arrives. Again, that's a joke that there's a lot of uh, there's a lot of good use for. Doesn't feel particularly suited to the Minotaur. And I'm thinking now. I'm trying to think of other barbecue jokes that maybe go in there, or um, surfing jokes. But I'm not coming up with anything. I just saw Chris. I just saw your thing there. Yeah, but if I save them, how will they ever learn how to swim? That's funny. That is funny. Funny. I might use that one. That also not particularly, not especially suited to the to the Minotaur, but that's funny. All right, let's turn off the sketches now. See what we've got. Add a little bit in there. I'm very taken with that one, Chris. I'm feeling like that might be what I go for. It's just funny. Oh, but if I save them, hmm, I'm trying to think about the spacing here. If I save them, yeah, that's. I don't know that that's. Like I say, it is not a particularly. It's not particularly tied to the drawing, but it's appealing to me. But if I save them, how will they ever learn to swim? All right, let's go to the colors. We'll come back to our gloaming brush. And certainly, as I think about this, there's certainly a point to be made of there are cartoonists that make great careers of uh, doing cartoons where they don't the their thing is their drawings are always a minotaur or a I'm trying to think of people in specific. Um, I mean, think of XKCD where everything's stick figures, right? There's no specificity to the characters at all, and that's the thing. Then and the jokes can be about anything. So, uh, or your main character. Think about things like Bloom County. While they did very often come up with penguin specific jokes for uh, or punchlines for Opus, there was still a lot of times when he was just a character there. It didn't even matter that he was a penguin. Once they're established as characters, it's established that that's what you do. Right? All of my cartoons, the characters are all cats. We don't explain why, but they just tell stories and have adventures that aren't particularly cat-like because they're just the characters, and I'm telling a joke using them. So this is definitely a that's a little too dark. This is definitely a lifeguard joke, right? This is for sure a lifeguard joke. Why is a lifeguard a minotaur? Well, he doesn't need to be. This joke would be just as funny if it was a regular lifeguard or it was a human character rather than a minotaur. But that doesn't make the joke doesn't work any less. I really like this joke though. Let's put a stand in the corner. Oop, no, that's the wrong brush for sure. And we've got ourselves a lifeguard gag that happens to feature a minotaur. Boo doo boo ba doo doo. All right, there we go. I don't know if this was just a week where I wasn't firing on all cylinders, or if it's again, it's okay. Um, I gotta stop making a point of that because it flies in the face of everything I've been saying about drawing is for fun and you should just do it for fun. This is a funny gag. It was a fun drawing to do. It looks kind of funny, like even if you take the quote out of it, it was just fun. Good job, people. Good job, Chris and Michael and Surreptitious. It's been a lot of fun. I'm glad to get back in the saddle. I'm glad to be rid of that whole COVID thing. Knock on wood that it doesn't come back because sometimes it does. And had a good time. So let me have one more sip and then we'll do an outro. All right. A Minotaur Lifeguard. Not being a particularly good lifeguard. That was our third our third prompt for the night. The second one was a Myconid Firefighter, and the first one was Golem Mini Golf. And those were our three drawings. We had a lot of fun today. I did. Had a lot of fun hanging out with you guys, as always. Uh, Folks in the chat, let me switch over here. Folks in the chat who I got to talk to, of course, were Michael and Surreptitious and Chris, and Lala was here for a little while. And I know that there have been some other folks watching. Hi, folks who are watching. It's okay that you didn't come in. No pressure. Um, and if you're watching on replay, hey, thank you for tuning in and watching. Glad that you could be there. Please, please, do me a favor, give this video a thumbs up, a like, a heart, whatever it is on the platform you're watching. It's very helpful to get the show introduced to new viewers, and we want to bring more people in to come and have fun with us. So please do that. The other thing that helps very much is after we finish the live chat, and those of you who've been chatting, thank you very much. But after we go into replay, if you could just take a minute or two and leave a comment. Leaving a comment is super helpful, and it's something that's very easy that you can do that will help out. Is a very real help to me and the show. So just say anything. Say, "Wow, had some weird ideas tonight, Stan," or "Not your best night, was it, Stan?" Or, "Boy, that was funny. You know that Chris Andrew, he came up with some funny stuff, and Michael, ha ha, you should make sure they come back next week." And I hope they do. I will be back next week for another episode of Random Encounters. In the meanwhile, if you want to get more Stan in your life, maybe you want to consider joining my Patreon. Patreon.com/StanX. It's a community full of people who like the stuff I do and like to get little snippets of back behind the scenes information and cartoons and drawings sent to their inbox, and occasionally things like stickers sent out in the mail, depending on what level you're subscribed at. Just lots of fun stuff, and it's a way to help to promote my stuff, and it's a way to help encourage me to do more of it and to allow me to spend more time doing it. Because in this world we live in today, it's about the money. I don't want it to be about the money, but it's about paying the rent. And as a cartoonist, gotta find as many sources as I can. So if you like this kind of thing and you want to support it, becoming a Patreon is a great way to do it. In the meanwhile, if you're just enjoying it, continue to enjoy it. You're welcome. My gift to you. All right, that's it. I'm going to go now. Thank you, everyone, for showing up. Good to see you. I'll see you next week. Until then, take care. Bye.